the valley holds its breath. An 8-man Navy SEAL element, led by Lieutenant Ryan Hale, lies in scrub, 300 meters from a walled compound framed by towers and angles. 7 elevated sniper posts ring the approaches. Fields of fire overlapping like tight seams. Step forward, and at least 3 lanes cut the same ground, which turns an infill into a losing bet. Hale glassed the ridges, then passed a calm assessment to the Tactical Operations Center on the JSOC encrypted net. The math was ugly, and the team prepared to abort. Slow and deliberate. Minds tracing the safest way back out. A steady female voice entered the net, identifying as Ghost 3, stating she had eyes on all 7 posts and could clear a lane in 12 minutes. The TOC authorized the support, and Hale acknowledged, keeping control of his element. The valley went quieter still. Aaron Walker settled behind her rifle somewhere beyond their sight line, and a silent countdown began. If she stayed unseen, the approach would open like a zipper, 1 careful shot at a time. The team breathed into the dirt and waited for the first soft cough from the distance to mark the start. Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker is a United States Marine Corps Scout sniper with 8 years. Her call sign is Ghost 3, a name earned in quiet places where patience beats noise. She works methodical, the kind of professional who turns long nights into usable information. Recent deployments placed her in a specialized reconnaissance role between observation and precise action. Her primary rifle is the Mk13 Mod 7 chambered in .300, Win Mag with a suppressor, and Nightforce ATAC 5-25 optics. She keeps a Kestrel 5700 for wind and atmospherics, and a PLRF rangefinder for distance and angle. Every entry goes on a dope card that sits where her hand can find it without thought. The routine is slow breathing, small adjustments, and a steady cheek weld that never argues with the stock. Corporal Daniel Park is her spotter, set in a secondary hide about 200 meters offset to provide security, triangulation, and quiet corrections. Their original tasking comes through a joint framework to run long-duration observation, map patterns, and gain positive identification of a high-value target inside a fortified compound with walls, towers, and a quick reaction force. Permissions and tasking route through the Tactical Operations Center, and she respects that chain every time she keys the net. 3 days of this discipline made it simple to speak up when the SEAL element faced an abort, because stress feels smaller when the process is ready. 72 hours in the hide begin with dirt under the nails, and quiet feels alive. Aaron settles into natural camouflage, brushing texture over fabric until the outline melts. Light and noise discipline rule every choice, from the slow press of a radio key to how a zipper never moves. Micro shifts ease pressure points without breaking concealment, and the rifle stays on the compound while notes go down in the dark. She runs a Kestrel 5700 for atmospherics and checks density altitude when the air changes weight. A PLRF rangefinder feeds distances that match the map, and dope cards update by time of night, so holds are never a guess. Wind calls hover between 3 and 6 miles per hour, but terrain and walls bend the flow one way, then another. Park sits 200 meters offset, watching angles and giving quiet corrections that sound more like a heartbeat than speech. They map 7 enemy sniper posts with elevations, overlapping fields of fire, and a rotation pattern near 6 hours, marking which posts stay sharp and which drift. Some hides run as single-man positions, while a spotter sits deeper to widen coverage and keep glass on broader terrain. Hydration, pacing, and quiet check-ins keep the mind steady while the body settles into the ground. An exfil plan sits ready from the start, a 12-kilometer route that avoids patrol lines and leads to a designated HLZ if cleared. Night vision paints the valley in shades of grain. An 8-man Navy SEAL element led by Lieutenant Ryan Hale moves low and slow toward a fortified compound. Spacing stays clean, each man indexing on the next with quiet checks and hand signals. Short halts let pulses settle and ears work, while optics scan for angles and shine. They reach an observation point about 300 meters from the outer wall and take a knee behind rock and brush. IR light stays off unless checked under cover, and every toggle is deliberate. Muzzle discipline keeps barrels inside shadows, while glass works the ridgelines. The air is still enough to carry a mistake far. So they keep mistakes at zero. Through the tubes, they plot 7 elevated sniper posts set on ridges, towers, and cutbacks. Fields of fire overlap every likely approach and stack into fans that cross on the flats. Any push would put the element inside multiple kill zones at the same time and from more than one azimuth. Angles show who watches the gate, who watches the valley, and who sees the blind ground. Hale passes a calm assessment to the Tactical Operations Center on the JSOC encrypted net and holds the team in cover. Abort is on the table, along with a delayed infill if the picture changes after additional reconnaissance and fires planning. He marks sectors, lanes, and likely dead space on a simple sketch under a red lens and folded into his sleeve. Then listens to the ground for movement inside the walls. Without a shift in threats, the mission will be called off. So they wait in the dark and breathe through the seconds. Permissions moved first. Lieutenant Ryan Hale held his element in cover and sent a concise update to the Tactical Operations Center on the JSOC net. A female voice identified as Ghost 3 requested authority to engage 7 sniper posts and clear lanes within 12 minutes, citing positive identification and prepared firing solutions. The TOC acknowledged, assigned her as Overwatch in support of Reaper 1, and confirmed rules of engagement that prioritize stealth and precision. Hale affirmed receipt and kept control of his 8-man team, restating that his element would hold until the lane opened or the mission was called. Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker settled behind her Mach 13 Mod 7. Suppressor fitted. Night Force AT car set for the night's light, with a Kestrel 5000, 700 clipped, and a PLRF checked against recorded distances. Corporal Daniel Park remained in the offset hide about 200 meters away. Security first. Quiet corrections. Second. Ready to confirm impacts and watch for movement. Radio traffic stayed brief and clean, so nothing bled into the night. The plan was simple, because simple survives stress. Ghost 3 would work the posts in a sequence that reduced cross-observation and opened the approach the SEALs needed. Reaper 1 would hold fast, then move only when told the lane was clear. A silent countdown settled over the valley as the net went quiet, and every eye took its place. Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker builds the plan before she touches the trigger. The requirement is simple to state and hard to execute. 7 posts must go down in 12 minutes without alerting the compound. She designs the sequence so each shot reduces the chance of detection and opens the lane the SEALs need. Her primary rifle is the MK13 Mod 7 inches 300 Win Mag, with a suppressor and a Night Force ATA-CR 5-25 optic. A Kestrel 5000, 700 feeds, wind, and atmospherics, while a PLRF confirms distance and angle against her dope. She carries holds already sketched for the night air to cut thinking time under stress. Everything sits where her hands find it without searching. Wind sits in the 3 to 5 mile per hour band with short gusts. Terrain, walls, and towers bend the flow in small ways that matter at range. She marks those bends on her card so the call is ready when the reticle settles. Time pressure is real, but the process is steady. Target precedence follows practical sniper logic. First is the post with the widest cross-observation that can catch optic glint or a flash. Removing that eye reduces the chance any follow-on shot gets seen. It also trims the number of angles that can watch her firing lane. Second is the position that covers the SEAL ingress lane. Range sits near 900 meters with eddies off the outer wall. She plans a modest hold and a short follow-through to confirm effect and move. Third is the close high-angle threat in a tower near 650 meters. The correction is minor for the up angle and already written on the dope. She chooses this early because a near post with elevation can punish small errors. Fourth is the most alert long-range shooter around 1,090 meters. She will wait for a lull between gusts and ride the natural pause in breathing. Fifth is the gate overwatch, with a narrow profile window near 790 meters that needs patience for a brief shift. Sixth is the post oriented toward the valley that watches the seal element at about 710 meters. Clearing that eye protects the element as they prepare to move. Last is the sandbag nest with an irregular rotation and partial cover near 970 meters. Her bolt cycle is lift, pull, push, close, with the reticle returning to the same place after each shot. Breathing slows to a calm cadence, so the break rides a natural pause. Corporal Daniel Park sits roughly 200 meters offset and gives minimal cues, quiet direction, and short impact confirmations that do not spill noise into the night. Permissions and tasking route through the Tactical Operations Center, and Lieutenant Ryan Hale acknowledges while keeping control of his element. The net goes concise and still, as positions are checked one last time. Aaron settles on the first target and lets the sight picture hold. The valley feels like a clock starting without a sound. The net is quiet as Aaron settles behind Mark 13, Mod 7. Suppressor seated. Night force at magnification. Reticle sharp against dark stone. Kestrel readings match card, and the PLRF confirms distance. Park holds the offset hide, listening to the ground. Shot 1 is the eastern ridge post with broad cross observation. Range reads about 850 meters, with a light wind from the west at 3 to 5. She settles a simple hold based on prior dope and lets the break ride a natural pause. Bolt, lift, pull, push, close, and the glass finds stillness where a head no longer scans. Shot 2 is the western ridge that covers the likely ingress. The outer wall throws small eddies, so she adds a touch to the wind call and waits for a smoother line. The trigger moves straight back, and the figure slumps inward as if adjusting a sling. Park murmurs impact, and she is already shifting. Shot 3 is the northern tower at roughly 650 meters. She dials a minor up angle correction and keeps the stock settled under the cheek. The body eases forward on the rail and reads like a guard resting between scans. Bolt cycles, and the reticle returns to center. Shot 4 reaches to the southern ridge at about 1,090 meters. Gusts pulse through the cut, so she waits through 2 breaths until the needle steadies. The rifle breaks during that quiet lull, and the silhouette loosens as if fatigue finally won. Park gives a soft confirm and checks for movement along the rear slope. Shot 5 is the gate overwatch with the narrow profile. Range holds near 790, and the window opens only when the target shifts to stretch a shoulder. She waits for 3 slow seconds, owns the still point, and sends 1 round. The shape pauses and settles behind sand and shadow. Shot 6 is the post oriented toward the valley watching the seal element. About 710 meters and quartering left to right. It demands clean follow-through. She breaks the shot, cycles without lifting her head, and raindexes to scan for any reaction downrange. Park holds silence until the pattern resumes, and then gives a short clear. Shot 7 is the sandbag nest with irregular rotation near 970 meters. Light is thin and cover is partial, so she tracks the tiny shifts that mark attention drifting. A brief move exposes head and upper chest, and she rides the pause into the break. The shape drops from view behind the bags. Radio traffic stays brief and correct. Permissions route through the Tactical Operations Center, and Lieutenant Ryan Hale keeps control of his element. Park holds the offset hide, calling only what matters and watching likely approaches. Aaron keeps the reticle moving and listens for any change in pattern. 7 threats are down in about 11 minutes 47 seconds, and the lane is open. Hale begins the move, while Aaron holds overwatch and scans for late risk. The element shifts from cover to ground they can own. The route ahead finally feels possible. They cross the valley in about 4 minutes, moving low and steady with gaps that never collapse. Night vision turns brush into shapes, and the team reads each rise before it steps. No white light. No spare noise. Only the small sounds that travel when bodies breathe. An observation pause sets the pace as they slide to the outer wall and hold in shadow. Lieutenant Ryan Hale keeps radio traffic brief on the JSOC net and confirms the lane stays cold. Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker holds overwatch with a mock, 13 Mod 7, glass tracing corners, rooftops, and dead ground. She calls 2 guards drifting toward the route but keeps her trigger safe because the angle is long and the risk of alert is high. Permissions route through the Tactical Operations Center, and Erin states she will not fire unless compromise is clear. The breach team works the outer wall, then threads to the inner wall with quiet tools and patient hands. Hale reports package timing at about 30 seconds and resets his perimeter as the element flows inside. Erin widens her scan, logging small movements and listening for a change in rhythm that would give the compound away. The route remains cold. The noise floor stays low, and a thin edge of tension reminds everyone that calm can flip fast. A roaming patrol drifts across the breach point and finds what should not be there. Floodlights punch on and wash the courtyard in hard white. Sirens echo against the walls, and boots start to move. Lieutenant Ryan Hale reports compromise on the JSOC encrypted net and shifts to the alternate exfil plan. Permissions continue to route through the Tactical Operations Center while Hale keeps control of his element. His voice stays even as he moves men to cover and calls a path toward the exfil point. The team compresses only when terrain forces it and then opens again. Every movement answers the ground. Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker is already on glass. Meek, 13 Mod, 7 inches, 300 Win Mag. Suppressor fitted. Night Force ATACR set for the night. Kestrel, 5,000, 700, clipped. PLRF checked against cards. Corporal Daniel Park holds the offset hide about 200 meters away. He watches edges and feeds quiet cues. Overwatch priorities take shape without hurry. First is the enemy leader directing troops near the western gate at roughly 930 meters. Aaron waits through one gust cycle and sends a clean round on the lull. The formation breaks as hands lose their guide. Next comes a machine gun team trying to set a line on the seals. Aaron reads about 800 meters and favors the wind a touch. The gunner folds before the tripod settles, and the assistant freezes long enough for a second round to end the setup. Park confirms with a low clock and distance. She shifts to the northern wall, where a 2-man RPG team angles toward the HLZ. The gunner sits near 900 meters and presents a steady profile. Aaron takes the gunner first, cycles the bolt without lifting her head, and puts the loader down before the tube can come back to life. The wall goes quiet for a beat. Wind holds in the 3 to 5 mile per hour band and bumps without warning. Aaron times breaks to the moments between ripples and keeps, follow through short to confirm effect. Park calls targets with simple clock directions and meters, then returns to security. Noise on the net stays minimal and clean. In the eastern courtyard, small clusters move from cover to cover. Aaron picks the coordinator first, and then any heavy weapon that surfaces. Each precise hit pulls energy out of the rush. Hale calls birds inbound and pivots his element toward the exfil point. Ranges stay inside what the card expects, from 600 to about 1,090 meters. Aaron checks corners that could pin the team or hit the landing zone and clears them as they appear. The compound still churns, but the lanes start to open. The air changes as confidence returns to the net. The route to the HLZ clears in steps. Helicopters approach low and fast. Rotors a distant thrum. Aaron holds the perimeter from distance so the team can move. The valley steadies as the plan takes hold. Rotors build from a distant thrum as the exfil route opens and dust lifts at the HLZ. Lieutenant Ryan Hale offers a pickup on the net, concise and calm, while keeping his element tight. The Tactical Operations Center tracks status and permissions and confirms the window. Aaron Walker watches the perimeter through glass and thinks through the risk. She declines in plain terms because the problem is visibility, not distance. Breaking concealment would mark her hide. Pull eyes toward the HLZ, and stack risk while the team loads and lifts. Corporal Daniel Park holds the offset hide and confirms that any movement now would create signature and allow triangulation from alert towers. The decision is professional restraint, not bravado. Hale acknowledges and focuses on getting his people aboard, keeping radio traffic short and clear. Aaron keeps the Mach 13, Mod 7 steady, scans choke points, and times her breathing with each slow sweep of the reticle. The first aircraft lifts from the HLZ and banks away while searchlights sweep the compound with no pattern to chase. She stays dark on the net until the airframes are clear, then eases back into stillness while the valley settles to a thin hush. They hold for roughly 30 hours after the aircraft lift, letting the compound spend itself on blind searches. Light and noise are controlled to the edge of stillness, with micro shifts to ease pressure points that never break the hide. Offset angles keep security intact, while each pass of boots, trucks, and dogs is logged in calm notes. When the search tempo finally drops, breathing feels like part of the ground. Exfil starts under darkness on a pre-planned 12-kilometer route set before infill. Pace count and dead reckoning lead them from cover to cover, while terrain association keeps them off predictable lines. Drainage cuts offer shadow and sound masking, so they ride the low ground and pause at choke points to listen. Crossings are timed between patrol cycles, so movement looks like nothing at all. Aaron Walker takes point on navigation, while Daniel Park watches rear and flanks, trading quiet squeezes for checks instead of words. They skirt a road by using a culvert, then crawl a short stretch of rocky wash to avoid a dog team cutting the wind. Distance gives them freedom, and patience keeps it, so they hold when doubt rises and move when the night settles. The route ends at a designated pickup site, where they stay dark on the net until the responsible element challenges, confirms identity and status, and brings them in clean. They return to the forward operating base tired and quiet, then walk into a secure operations space where work lights feel bright. Major Laura Jensen runs the debrief with a steady voice and a clean checklist that keeps everyone focused. The after-action report records 7 sniper posts neutralized in about 11 minutes 47 seconds, followed by disciplined overwatch that let the SEAL element pull critical material without spiraling into a shootout. Notes match radio logs and sketch maps, and the timeline holds under questions. A written statement from Lieutenant Ryan Hale sits on the table with the team roster attached. He credits Aaron Walker and Daniel Park with preserving stealth early, then shifting to leadership and heavy weapons once the compound went active. The staff compares his account with sensor feeds and finds the same pattern of calm fire at range and short, purposeful calls. It reads like a plan made in advance, not a rush made under stress. Recognition happens without fanfare after the facts are set. Major General Thomas Ridley presents the Silver Star to Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker for gallantry in action, citing precise fires across long distances and overwatch that enabled a joint force to finish a mission at risk of aborting. Corporal Daniel Park receives a formal commendation for spotting, security, and disciplined communications that kept the engagement chain intact. Chief Petty Officer Lucas Grant from the SEAL team speaks as a peer and thanks them for trust built in silence and distance. The room settles once the awards are done and the work turns back to learning. Aaron and Park sign the after-action report, while operations staff pull out lessons for sniper courses and raid planning, from target precedence under time to managing wind around walls. Equipment lists remain the same as logged in the field, and no new items appear. The day ends with a quiet sense that preparation and restraint turned minutes into lives saved. And that is the kind of result worth writing down carefully. They meet in a quiet room inside a secure facility after the awards are done. Lieutenant Ryan Hale brings 3 members of his Navy SEAL element and greets Staff Sergeant Aaron Walker and Corporal Daniel Park, like peers who shared the same night from different angles. He has read the after-action report carefully and has watched how Overwatch changed the mission from a probable abort to a clean exfil. The tone is warm and professional, with ranks respected and the work speaking for itself. Chief Petty Officer Lucas Grant offers a grounded reflection about trust, built the slow way through disciplined work and clean radio calls. He notes how steady fires, short acknowledgments, and silence at the right time made distance feel smaller. The conversation turns to what comes next, and Hale presents an invitation for Aaron to serve as a liaison between Marine Scout snipers and JSOC Special Operations. The need is practical, so commanders can tie sniper overwatch planning to raid timelines. HLZ risk. and deconfliction on the net, with a single subject matter expert who translates across units. Erin considers the offer as a Marine who values preparation and team safety and weighs it against the work she knows best. She accepts in plain words because better overwatch means more operators get home. Park is kept in the center of the moment, with clear credit for spotting and security that underpin the legend people now retell. The meeting closes with quiet optimism and a sense that future joint work will run smoother because the right people are connected before the next long night begins. The story travels quietly. In sniper courses and raid briefs, it is a case study more than a headline. 7 posts in about 11 minutes 47 seconds becomes a lesson on how preparation turns noise into order. Gunnery Sergeant Aaron Walker, later promoted to Master Sergeant, stands in front of Marine Scout sniper students and keeps the focus on process instead of legend. She talks about reading wind that shifts with walls and terrain and timing the break to a calm breath. She explains how a spotter keeps the shooter honest and how a simple plan beats a clever one when the night gets long. A student asks how to stay calm when the stakes feel heavy and the clock is loud. Aaron says that fear is information and the process is the choice, then points them back to their dope, their notes, and the rhythm they practice when nobody is watching. Now it is another night. Aaron is on glass with a Mach 13, Mod 7 inches 300, Win Mag and a suppressor. Night Force ATCR set for the light. Corporal Lisa Martinez works as spotter, calling a 3 to 5 mile per hour wind from the west and updating holds as the air cools. Ranks and roles are clear. The plan is simple, and the calm work begins again. Take this with you beyond the range. Preparation, patience, and teamwork are not just field skills. They make families safer and work cleaner and hard days steadier. Follow for more stories about people who work in silence so others make it home.